This little colonial style chest of drawers that I got for free is about to get a makeover. Pieces like this aren't particularly valuable or desirable in their original condition, so I'm going to give this a quick redesign with a more modern line around the bottom, some new hardware, and a fresh coat of paint, so it's a little easier to fit into today's homes, and hopefully I can sell it on Facebook Marketplace for a profit. I really don't think I'm going to need to invest more than about $100 worth of materials into this chest, and I should be able to sell it nice and quickly on Facebook Marketplace for $375. And since I'm lucky enough to be able to cover my expenses through you watching this video on YouTube, I'm planning on taking all of the profits from the sale of this dresser and donating them to my local food bank in the form of some much needed items. This is kind of a cheap and cheerful piece of furniture that's made with some nice maple, but really built in an economical manner. The drawer slides on this style of furniture usually need a few repairs. We've got some big chunks of missing veneer around the bottom edge from being dragged across the floor, and it's just an outdated style. As always, after pulling out all the drawers and removing the hardware, I gave this whole thing a good deep clean with some simple green all-purpose cleaner to get any grease or grime off of the surfaces and take care of the dust bunnies that always collect inside old furniture. I needed to take this front piece of trim off so that I could replace it with something more simple. So I just used my painter's tool and a hammer to pop off these wood plugs and then unscrewed it. I used a box cutter to straighten up all the jagged veneer chips and removed all of the stuff that was already coming away just to tidy it up a bit, but this is all gonna get covered with my new trim anyways. I was really surprised at how nice the condition of the drawers were on this, and only one of the nylon drawer guides that hold the drawer in place was broken. So I unscrewed that and replaced it with a new one, and then I put a piece of painter's tape across the backs of all of the old hardware holes so that I could fill those in. And to do that, I used this Durham's Rock Hard Putty. I've had a bunch of you recommend it to me, so I picked up this can. It's a powder that you mix with water to form a putty filler, and it says that it dries really quickly to a rock hard consistency. So I mixed up a bit in a little container and then plopped that into a Ziploc baggie and cut off the corner tip so that I could pipe it into the holes and make sure that I got them filled all the way through. I'm doing that because the new hardware that I want to use on here is going to need me to be able to drill in pretty close to where these original holes are, and I want to make sure that it's as solid and secure of a surface as possible. While that dried, I went and grabbed Mr. Salvaged to help me with the new trim piece that I wanted to wrap around the bottom of this thing. I picked up an 8-foot long piece of trim that's the same height as the trim that I took off of the front, but it's got a more simple profile that matches the drawers pretty closely. And I wanted to miter the corner joints on this. And I am absolutely trash at making precise measurements and cuts like this. So having him here to do this stuff for me or with me will save me hours of mess ups and frustration and probably tears. Could I have done this myself? Absolutely. But it would have been a disastrously frustrating experience that took way longer than necessary. So, yay, Doug. He measured the length that we needed across the front and then tilted the saw to 45 degrees and chopped off the ends to an angle. And then we just repeated that for the side panels. We ended up taping the pieces together to dry fit it and figure out where to cut the side pieces off. And as we were working on this, I looked out the window and saw our first snowfall of the year had started outside. It's so pretty and peaceful. Okay, back to this trim. Once we had all 3 pieces cut, I put some wood glue in the corner joints, and then we got it in place and just nailed it into the frame of the dresser. I used my leftover filler to fill in all of the nail holes and hammered in some little feet to the bottom so that it's elevated off the floor about a 1/4 inch, and this skirting won't be able to drag on the floor anymore. It won't get damaged that way. Once all the filler had dried, I used some 120 grit sandpaper to smooth it out and also buff out as many of the scratches and dents on the top as I could, and just scuff up the rest of the finish on the chest to give my primer some texture to grab onto. I dusted everything off with a microfiber cloth and then added a little bit of paintable caulking into this new seam around the trim just to give it a smoother, more finished look once it's all painted up. After squeezing that bead of caulking down the seam, I just used a wet finger to drag it, push it down into that crack and scoop up any excess, and then a damp paper towel to get the rest. I decided to open up a fresh new drop cloth for this project and then grabbed the old paint cans that I use as risers to put under my furniture and dropped this one that still had a bunch of paint in it. There goes the freshness of my drop cloth. I wrapped the drawers in some masking paper to keep them clean and then poured some of this bin shellac-based primer into a roller tray. This is the primer that I use most often because it adheres really well to almost any surface, and it also blocks in wood tannins, or the natural oils and pigments in the wood that are really prone to bleeding up through water-based paints and leaving ugly stains. It's also going to seal up the porous wood filler for me so that my paint lays evenly across the surfaces instead of being absorbed into those filled spots and then sitting on top of the rest. It's nasty stuff to clean out of my sprayer though, and that's why I roll it on. I did 2 really quick coats of this stuff. It dries so quickly that once I'm finished my first coat, I'm ready to go right back to where I started and roll on a second. So I let that dry for about 30 minutes and then sanded everything lightly with some really fine 400 grit just to smooth out any texture that the roller had left behind in the primer, and dusted it off again with my microfiber cloth. I'm going to be painting this thing with some Sherwin-Williams Emerald Enamel, that's a mouthful, in their color Jasper, and I picked this up the last time they had a big sale a few months ago. It is this beautiful dark green that's been trending in interior design for a while now, and I just love how rich it is. I poured about a pint or 16 ounces of this through a paper paint strainer into my pneumatic spray gun, and then added just a tiny splash of water, maybe 2 tablespoons worth, to thin it out just slightly since this is a bit of a thicker paint. Then I hooked the gun up to my air hose, tested out my spray on a piece of cardboard, and once I had all the settings dialed in, I moved over and started spraying the chest. You want to have enough paint coming out that It's not giving you full one coat coverage because that will start to drip and sag as it's drying, but you don't want too little paint that it starts to dry before it has a chance to level itself out. And getting that balance right can take a bit of practice, and every single color in every single paint line is going to be a little bit different. So don't be afraid to play around with the flow settings on your gun or add a little bit more water if you need to. It took me a total of 6 minutes to get my first coat of paint on there, and just look at this sunlight beaming into the garage. I left that to dry for the recommended 4 hours, and then I came back out and sprayed on a second coat the same way that I did the first. The second coat got another 4 hours to chill, and when I came back out to check on it in my pajamas, it felt a little rough. I didn't put down enough paint on my second coat, so it dried too quickly. So I gave all of the surfaces another rub down with that 400 grit sandpaper just to knock down those rough spots, wiped off the dust again, and then adjusted the flow on my gun so that I had a little bit more paint coming through, and sprayed on one more coat, a little juicier, to finish things off. And because this is a super durable enamel, it doesn't need any additional top coating. I let all that paint cure up overnight, and then I was ready to install the new hardware. I found these bin poles on Amazon, and I had a few of these antique brass knobs left over from my last project, so I'm going to do a little mix and match here. The two small sections on that top divided drawer are going to get the knobs, and then the rest will get these poles. Like I said, these poles are almost the same screw placement as the old hardware, but these attach with a screw through the front and not a bolt or machine screw through the back. So I used the faint outline left from the filled holes to place the new handles, marked where I needed to drill with a tiny screwdriver, drilled some tiny pilot holes, and then screwed all of these in place. The knobs were a little bit brighter than the poles, so I grabbed some of this black Rub and Buff metallic wax and added a bit right on top of the knobs, and then just buffed it in with a shop towel until I had a better match. So here's a reminder of where I started with this little freebie chest of drawers. And after 2 days, about 7 hours worth of labor, and just under $75 worth of materials, here is where I've landed. I am a sucker for this apothecary or old library look on furniture, and I know that once I get this listed on Facebook Marketplace, it is going to find a new home fast. Like I said, the profits from this piece are going to buy some fresh milk, eggs, and butter, and maybe a few treats for my local food bank, and I am so excited and grateful to be able to give back during this holiday season. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching along through this makeover. Make sure to share this video with anyone who you think might enjoy it too. I'm going to leave a few more furniture flipping videos here for you to watch next if you want, and I will catch you all next time.